Hi, this is Kimberly. Today I bring to you Chapter 4 of My Daddy is a Big Fat Zero. My Daddy is a Hero. And I believe I had mentioned in Chapter 3, at the end of Chapter 3, that we were going to talk about Nutgate. Well, ignore that. I don't know why I said that, but no. The name of this chapter is I Would Do Anything for Those Girls. And it's concerning when Coder and Pinhead were sitting in the interview room for hours on end talking, and Chris was stumbling all over himself. He was attempting to use his words as Shanann had taught him. It was a hot mess, dumpster fire. Then Coder told him, just go put your pajamas on and come back tomorrow and we'll do that polygraph game. The next video I'm going to bring to you, because earlier in the book we had talked about Jeremy Lindstrom had come over that night when everybody was popping over. Well, the night that Shanann and the girls were quote-unquote missing. We all know that the Lindstroms played a very big part, and they did some interviews, and not only with the CBI, they did some news interviews. I just kind of want to pick that apart and stuff. Don't you think that'll be fun? Yeah. Some of you know and some of you don't know. This is a redo of when I reviewed My Daddy is a Zero book, and I just wanted to go over it again, clean it up a bit, add some more comments, which I've done. And so yeah, isn't this fun? This is me slowly introducing myself back into my channel. I've had a rough few months, and I know y'all understand. I hope you do. If you don't, then there's that little X button you can click, okay? Love you guys. Have a wonderful week, weekend, all that stuff. And now we'll pick up where I was back in 2019. Enjoy. Much love and peace, and thank you for listening.
Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis and a critique of Chapter 4 of My Daddy is a Hero, How Chris Watts Went from Family Man to Family Killer by Lena Derhally. The title of this chapter is I'd Do Anything for Those Girls. We are on Tuesday morning, August 14, 2018, the day after the murders. Search and rescue teams have been deployed to look for Shanann and the girls. Officer Catherine Lyons arrived at the house and was nearly knocked over from the overpowering, potent scent of cleaning chemicals that Jerkoff had been using to sanitize the crime scene. He had not been able to sleep much without Bella and Cece there to throw chicken nuggets at him, so he decided to do a bit of tidying up. When Officer Lyons' eyes and nose quit burning and watering, she was eyeballing him sideways and made note of CW being a prick and acting all tense and unconcerned. Also that he was smirking and smiling inappropriately. His eyes were darting around, but he made no eye contact with anyone. Against his mother-in-law's advice, Chris eagerly agreed to do the media interviews to show off his
remarkable
social interaction skills and that he was man of the family. And while we all know how that went, you can almost imagine the sirens and flashing lights and imaginary arrows pointing at him after he was done flapping his jaws and spewing verbal nonsense. Did dumbass really think he was outsmarting everyone? This chapter, of course, started with reliving the interview he did with the news stations. I think we can all
pretty much
recite it word for word. And everything I've read so far in this book, it is very well written. I have no bitching and complaining to do. And I know I would be hanging on the very edge of my seat if I had not been down this road many times before. The author continues on to describe the fiasco that went on that morning with the local news stations. If I were just reading this book on my own, I would just be skimming over this part very fast. But I do understand she has to establish the timeline. I've just gone over so much of this on my own. But you know Chris and shit is doing his bit where he's trying to be all cool and
fucktard's epitome of cool is
saying, if somebody, has her, I need you to, bring her back. And, if they are, safe, and they are, gonna, come back, and I, miss them, barrel rushing me. all the while peppering it with
peculiar as hell
little laughs and smirks. It was full of "I want," "I miss," but everyone can see he is just completely uninhabited, in his mind. He checked out a long time ago. If his hair were longer, he would have been doing that emo hair flip, where one moves their head in such a way as to get the hair out of their eyes without using their hands. He's a goddamn embarrassment to the human race. A complete and utter moron. Damn fool, dickweed, jerk-off, bungling, maladroit, dumb asshole, extraordinarily stupid, foolish, clod-hopping dickhead, fucker, pinhead, cretin, slithering, idiot, brainless, incompetent piece of chicken shit. Eat dirt, bitch. But then we get to where Blockhead goes to the police station to meet with Special Agent Graham Coder of the FBI. Yep, while this son of a bitch was laying under a car becoming a master mechanic, Coder was polishing off his degree in criminal justice, and he was about to come for Chris Asshat Watts. Well, CW's flippant teenage boy attitude did a quick change once Coder got a hold of him. He was about to make Shithead feel special and unique. He also was about to play on Chris's people-pleaser emotions. That's my own observation, not Miss Lena's. Sometimes I'm all perceptive and stuff.
I mean, shit.
Coder asked, did Chris and Shit think it was merely a coincidence that his family went missing on the very same day he and his wife had a quarrel? So Coder was getting the hunch that the two might be related, and that CW should put himself in his shoes. Well, damn it, Lunkhead doesn't want anyone to get into trouble on his account. But wait, he didn't want to go to jail either. Oh, brother, what a conundrum he was in. Chris told Coder that it was giving him a tummy ache because he knew it didn't look good on him, but that he's all moral and upright. He would never do such a thing. If you've ever seen videos of this interrogation, I could see Chris start literally squirming in his seat. I was starting to wonder if this bastard was going to get one of those unruly nervous stomach things, where you get one of those explosive diarrhea attacks out of nowhere. Have to make a sudden trip to the toilet, and Coder was blocking the door. And then Chris got all smart and stuff and flipped it, trying to get Coder to look at it from his point of view. And he was rambling and talking aimlessly, just trying to fill up the quiet time. He promised Coder that he, quote, had nothing to do with that, end quote. But you know what I noticed on my own? That Chris did not pinky swear when he said that he promised he had nothing to do with their disappearance. So Coder straight up asked him if he was telling the truth. Chris and Shit said yes, and Coder asked him why should he believe him. So Asshole went on to explain that he's all passive and a doormat and stuff. Coder's the kind of guy, he's all smart, and he was figuring out Chris and sizing him up. And he was going to do whatever it takes, even if that means getting down on the floor with him and playing blocks or Hot Wheels with Chris. Chris and Shit was trying to explain that he's a good guy and that he has good qualities and character. He just wants everything to be cool, man. No yelling, no screaming, 'cause that kind of stuff upsets him.
Like when Mommy and Shanann would do that.
So Coder assured him there would be none of that and continued to stroke his ego, flattering and praising him, telling him what a big boy he had been during this really hard conversation. But it was going to get a little bit harder, Coder said. Quote, I need to ask you about your marriage and infidelity, end quote. What? Well, Chris and Shit just flipped the fuck out. Coder was wanting to know if Chris had been playing house with a new mommy other than Shanann. His eyes got big and round like saucers, and his mouth fell wide open. He looked like that kid from Home Alone when the burglars showed up. He didn't like talking about what mommies and daddies do under the covers in the dark. CW started blabbing about he's completely virtuous and he has no moral flaws and shit like that. Chris and Shit said in all seriousness that he and Shanann would ask each other's permission before doing something like that. Coder didn't even laugh when he called bullshit on that one. CW backed down from that high horse he had been climbing up on. Coder said blunders happen. And Coder promised not to tell anyone if Chris had a regular secret companion with whom he had a romantic and/or sexual relationship with. So he started buttering him up again, trying to get him to fess up. But Dickweed continued to insist he only played house with Shanann, no one else. The author says, quote, when Chris and Shanann had started dating, Chris was overweight, pale, and socially awkward. When he started doing Thrive, per Shanann's suggestion, he began to lose weight rapidly. He also started working out religiously and watching his calories. The transformation had been remarkable. As Chris sat before Coder, he was objectively lean, muscular, tan, and a handsome man, end quote. And I would just like to clarify, those are the author's words, not mine.
I am simply performing a very distressing oral reading from the book.
Coder was laying it on thick. He told him he had seen the difference in him from pictures from a few years ago until now. Chris resisted but finally started crumbling when Coder asked him why he was falling out of love. He started talking about how he had liked being by himself over the past 5 weeks, and he just couldn't imagine being married
anymore. He had been having a shit ton of fun walking around the house pretending to be defiant to Shanann without her there, halfway across the country. He told his new best friend Coder.
His buddy Mark had asked him if he would be jealous if he ever pictured Shanann with someone else. Chris and Shit had said no, and his buddy Mark said to him, well, then there's your answer. Like, if you love her, it would, be different. Well, okay, but there are other ways of terminating a marriage and parting ways, dumbass. For example, a divorce is a legal dissolution of a marriage. People stay alive and go their separate ways. And then non-custodial parent visitation rights of their children, they do that shit. Then there are people that are actually all blissed out afterwards. Please forgive my froggy throat. I have a sore throat and a cold.
His friend Coder coyly continued, quote,
so this buddy Mark, you visited him when you were in San Francisco with Shanann on that last Thrive trip. So is it your buddy Mark's fault this time? He's not the one you needed a green light from, asshole. Anyway, so CW was babbling on about not being in love anymore
with Shanann, that woman that he voluntarily joined for life with in holy matrimony.
Coder cut him off by saying, quote, I gotta tell you, it sounds like a load of horse shit to me. Go Coder.
Lunkhead thought he would try what he thought to be a more philosophical way. Quickie had been trying to teach him how to sound smart and shit when he talked.
Chris went on and on and on about the connection. Quote, it's just a connection that isn't there. When you can look at someone and put your forehead to their forehead and you hold them and you know what the other's thinking. That's a connection. I didn't have that connection
anymore. End quote. You fuckwit, you're embarrassing yourself. Further embarrassing yourself.
Oh my God. And Coder is sitting there looking bored and allowed him to just keep digging himself deeper and deeper into this awkward
and ignominious
situation. The author says, quote, Chris sounded as if he was reciting an over-the-top romance novel. Does anyone put their foreheads together and know what the other is thinking? It's obvious Chris was being insincere, end quote.
Well, I'm not too sure about that. I actually think that airy-fairy, starry-eyed, head-in-the-clouds, nutty, inept fuckwit that emulates the ultimate in absurdity was earnestly speaking from his deadbeat heart.
Coder asked for Dumbass's help in not believing he's responsible for his family being missing. Buckweasel gave him a soliloquy about how Coder just needs to trust him and how he wanted his daughters to just tackle him, knock him to the floor and bust my head, he said. Well, Chris and Shit, there are people that will still do that for you right there where you're at in prison.
You don't even have to ask. Just be yourself. Make yourself available, you yellow-bellied bag of shit.
Coder asked CW to tell him a typical day at their house, and he did. Every single painstaking little detail. Then he stopped short of saying that the girls were bossy, and he stopped.
What, you didn't think by now that Special Agent Coder could tell that you did not wear the pants in the family?
Miss Lena says, quote, Chris stopped himself before saying Shanann, realizing how that might sound to Coder. His secret disdain for his wife
was slowly creeping in.
That disdain was exactly what Coder was looking for. Coder said, urging him to continue, end quote. And now I'm getting excited. The author is creeping into this chapter. She's pointing out stuff I didn't notice before. First about the foreheads touching and how stupid that was, and now this. My interest and attention is suddenly perking up. And I noticed myself, 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗 says when he gets the kids from school, quote, they'll be screaming the whole way home because they want mommy. Quote, Bella wants Shanann to put her to bed, and Cece wanted him. I wonder if that means anything. Look at me trying to act like
a psychoanalyst. Well, I do know this much. Kids are smart, you ninny, just like Dieter doesn't like your repulsive ass. Kids and animals are extremely intuitive. You disagreeable, disgusting, unsightly, hideous, vile, lame-brained schmuck. I think they should take Dieter for a visit to the Wisconsin prison without a harness. I would love to see his reaction when he saw you.
The book says, quote, Coder had Chris walk him through the day again at Survey 319. He circled back, attempting to get Chris to talk. Coder said, okay, so let's have this hard conversation again. How old are they? Coder asked, looking for Chris to slip up someplace. 4 and 3, said 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗, end quote. I like that she is explaining what Coder is doing and how he is directing and in charge of the conversation. I knew Coder had a method. I just like that Miss Lena is describing it. Coder keeps pressing CW, tells him he thinks there are 2 Chris's. The responsible Chris and then the other Chris that had a secret. Coder begins to ask him about the call to the daycare. Chris first says he called to see if they were there, and then to tell them they were moving, and then to put them on the waiting list. This is where he really starts to fuck up. He was going round and round with this. He couldn't keep the story straight about the school, and that's my professional opinion, not that of the FBI special agent or the licensed psychotherapist. But CW went on and on about how much he loves his daughters, and he loves his daughters with all of his heart, and yes, he really did wake Shanann at 4 a.m. to talk and tell her he didn't love her anymore, and they wanted to separate. Coder told him none of this shit makes sense, and asked Chris if they could start over. Chris said sure. Coder asked Chris the last time he saw his kids and wife before leaving that morning. He claimed to see the girls on the monitor and that Shanann was in bed. Coder asked him for the plan of separation. 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗 made it sound easy with just, oh, they were going to sell the house and each get their own apartment,
and there would be 50-50 custody.
Then Coder said they would take a break for the night. He could tell CW was stubbornly refusing to stop being a stupid dumbass,
and he definitely needed to go night-night.
𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗 was relieved, saying he only had about 2 hours of sleep
the night before. He just couldn't sleep. He had had no one to sing bedtime songs with, and his tummy was growling something fierce. Shanann had usually fed him by now.
𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗 said that he had seen 2 different Coders, alluding to what Coder had said to him earlier about 2 different Chris's. CW was starting to relax, as he could see they were most likely about to wrap it up for the night.
Bonehead said
he could see Coder was only doing his job.
Birdbrain knew in his heart that under different circumstances, they could have been playmates. I mean pals.
And Coder committed to him they were not going to stop until he found his family. And Coder said, quote, you know I'm not the only one that thinks that you had something to do with this. And Chris was like, another FBI agent? Coder was like, everyone. Chris got that deer in the headlights look again. Coder was all like, have you ever watched the news and saw 2 girls and a pregnant woman go missing? And if that's all you heard, what do you think the public thinks?
The husband, Chris replied.
Husband, said Coder. Then Coder told him that he was the man. I'm going to commit to you, that I'm going to be your guy, okay? I'm going to be your guy that handles the investigation. I think 𝚑𝚘𝚘𝚗 found that both comforting and unnerving.
𝐻𝐽𝐴G appreciated when other people handled things. He wasn't good at that kind of shit.
He told Chris, "I'm a nice guy. Tonight we had to talk about some tough things, but I hope that you know I did it respectfully. I think you could see that," end quote. Coder told Chris he was being that nice guy that everyone always wanted to see in him, all helpful and shit, and that if Chris and shit needed someone to cry or to talk to, even in the middle of the night, he said, I want you to know that if you have a question, if you think we're not doing something enough or well enough, I want you to say, I gotta call Graham." CW thanked his new friend Graham Coder and promised he would come back the next day at 11 a.m.
for some good-natured waterboarding.
For a polygraph. Coder told him they would work as a team.
Chris and Shit's new buddy Coder helped him organize his morning. The plan was,
Chris and Shit was going to pick Daddy up from the airport in the morning, and then they would head to the police station. It's just unfortunate for Chris and Shit that his parental supervision wasn't there to tell him, zip your fucking mouth, before the front porch sermon, or before the FBI was testing his knowledge. Chris and Shit needed a good night's sleep, so he grabbed his elf pajamas and went to Nick and Amanda's house for the sleepover. And that will be the end of this video. I'm going to go nurse my sore throat, and I will pick up with chapter 5 in the next one.
Much love and peace. Thank you for listening.